All right, good evening. We're breaking in right now from the ANF Plus desk to bring you some breaking news that we are actively covering right now in DeKalb County. So, right now we are learning some more information. We have some crews on the ground at the site of the future Public Safety Training Center for the Atlanta Police Department, as well as where firefighters are supposed to be able to train as well as soon as this is up and running. Now, construction has just begun at this site. If you are unfamiliar with this story, what we know about this and what we have been covering so far, protesters, Defend the Forest has been the group really pushing back against this development and the site out there, and we have been covering a number of protests. And now today, this is the second protest that we have seen just this weekend from this group. And now the Atlanta Police Department, the Atlanta Fire Department is also on scene out there. And we have a crew member. We have one of our Atlanta News First reporters, Asia Wilson, who is on the ground right now. Now, we're going to go to Asia in just a moment, but the reason this site has garnered so much attention is because back in January, a protester was shot and killed at the site after police say the protester shot at a GSP trooper, and that trooper did make it to the hospital and is recovering since. But since then, the tensions have only intensified. So we're going to go out to Miss Asia Wilson now. She's been on location and she's standing by. Asia, can you hear me? I'm going to bring up your mic in just a moment. All right, Asia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, Asia, tell us what's happening behind you and what's been happening in the last 30 minutes.
Well, Tori, right now I'm standing at Key Road Southeast, and right behind me, you can see a little bit behind me here. We're at the bridge here, right outside of that, again, that planned public safety training center. You can see a couple cops here, actually about maybe 20 cops here. Since we've been here, we've been at the scene here probably since a little after 6 o'clock, and we've seen several police officers, Atlanta police officers, speeding down this Key Road Southeast at a rapid speed. And actually within the last couple of minutes, we saw 2 fire trucks going inside or going down this road and going inside the woods. We also saw 3 Atlanta SWAT vehicles going inside of the woods as well. Right now, we're still working to find out what exactly is going on. I know that since we've been out here, we've heard a few pops here and there. We're not exactly sure what those pops are, where they're coming from, if it's even related to this particular scene here at Key Road Southeast. But again, the Atlanta Police Department also sent out an email maybe within the last 20 minutes saying that they are aware of what's going on out here. They are aware that there's a scene here, but they said that they're still gathering information, and they said that they'll let us know more information when they are able to gather all of the information there.
All right, so Asia, you can still hear me, right?
I can still hear you.
Okay, so the protesters, I just want to keep you here for a moment just to talk a little bit about, have you seen any protesters out there? I mean, I know that you got there probably about 35 minutes ago, and we can hear the helicopter above you. Have you been able to see any protesters on the ground?
No, we have not been able to see any protesters. We are a great distance back. The police, Atlanta police, they are actually turning people around. They are telling people that they can't come down this way now. Where we're standing now is kind of where the city of Atlanta's watershed management facility is, and you can't really see anything. You can only see police cars. Again, you can see the woods right over here. And actually, I'm going to have Josh pan over because again, we're at the watershed department here, but right above this area here, you could probably see 2 stars. But earlier when we got here around 6:40, we saw smoke, a light, maybe dark black smoke coming from that area there. We don't know what that was or what's going on back there, but it appears to be coming from the woods. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Tori, we saw maybe about 10 minutes ago, we saw about 3 Atlanta SWAT vehicles going in that direction in the woods. Again, where we're standing at right now, you can't really see anything. We can't really see what's going on back there.
All right, Asia. Well, excellent reporting out there. We're definitely going to check back in with you in a little while, and we'll see what you can gather. I know that police, during these types of situations, they tend to move reporters like you back to make sure that they can, investigate what's going on. So we'll touch base with you soon.
I will tell you this, Tori. Earlier today, another crew was out here covering what I guess the forced offenders are calling a week of action. We know that that's going on, I believe, between the 4th and the 11th. We spoke with a few protesters deep in the woods who said that they're not going anywhere, that they're going to continue to stay out here. But again, we're not exactly sure where the scene is right now in the woods or what's going on back there.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because that is very significant within this storyline. The protesters have already talked about the fact that they are not going to stop and that they're going to continue protesting. And they did say that March 9th was going to be a very special day, and it's still unclear why, but here we are. It's March 5th, and we're back out here because they've already attracted a police presence and SWAT officers. So if you learn anything new as it relates to their plans going forward, if you get any information from police, make sure that you let us know and we'll break in right here on the ANF Plus desk. All right. All right, so that's the very latest that we have from Asia Wilson, but I do want to now talk a little bit about how we got here. I tried to mention as much as I could in the beginning of this just to bring you up to speed on the storyline that has been surrounding this public safety training facility, but now we have a little bit more time to step back and just kind of break it down for the viewer. So this moment that took place in January, there was a protest at this site. And the forest defenders have been the main group, but there are other people that also have been in support of the group's message. But in January is when really tension started to arise, when there was a clearing operation that was underway by the task force. And there's many agencies that were part of this task force, including the Georgia State Patrol. And at that time, during the clearing operation, police tell us that a protester by the name of Teron Manuel fired at troopers and hit a Georgia State trooper during that gunfire exchange. And the GSP troopers returned fire, and they did end up shooting and killing Teron Manuel. And now his mother held a press conference, and she says, my son just wanted to defend the forest. There's been a lot of outcry ever since then. Shortly after that, we saw protesters take to the streets where a police car was set on fire. Protesters were seen throwing rocks into windows. There were several protesters that were arrested and charged with domestic terrorism. And that's not all, right? So here we are. After that, then the city really wanted to pioneer a voice on this situation. The city of Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens has held numerous press conferences because this has garnered national attention. And in his address, he said that we support peaceful protesting, but we will not support violence. And they've been very clear about that. The next step of that was they came forward, the DeKalb County commissioners, and the City of Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens held a press conference, and they said that 30 acres of green space at this facility was going to be dedicated to the community to use as green space. And then just this week, the mayor also announced that he wants the community to form a task force that will help the city gain insight on how to best use this site. Construction is well underway at this time, and now the protesters have said, Mayor Andre Dickens is just trying to save face with this task force, and we're going to continue protesting. And then that's where we now are learning about the week of action. Now, the week of action, from my notes here when I was speaking with another one of our colleagues, it is from March 4th through the 11th is the week of action that the forest defenders have been saying that they are going to continue. And they did say, like I mentioned when we were talking to Asia, that March 9th was going to be a special day. So it's still unclear why. But I do want to just bring you up to speed here on just a little bit more on the task force, because that's the latest development that we were covering just this week. And so I'm going to bring that to you right now. I am going to ask my colleague here, Mr. Cutter Martin, who is the pioneer of the ANF Plus desk. He's going to just maybe help me with the audio of this package. Pretty sure all I have to do is just click it. All right, we're going to take this and let you guys see this.
By smashed windows, burned cop cars, and ongoing protests. For months, there has been plenty of public pushback to the city's plans to build a $90 million public safety training center.
I ain't never been no sellout.
Earlier this month, Mayor Andre Dickens was called a sellout by a student during a meeting about this project at Morehouse College.
You've been heard. You've been heard. But guess what? You picked the wrong resume to pull on a race card.
Now the mayor is calling on the community to form a 40-member task force to help inform the city on how to best develop the Public Safety Training Center. Kamal Franklin, a leader of the movement against this project, said this move by the mayor was just a PR stunt.
This is basically part of a propaganda game by the city after, again, they've seen the protests that have happened around the city, the protests that happened at Morehouse and Spelman.
I called up city officials. They refuted this claim that it was in reaction to public outcry.
This isn't like we just woke up and we're starting something new here. This is an extension and an expansion of those efforts, really to invite more voices in.
Brian Thomas is the director of communications for the mayor's office. He said this is a genuine effort by the city. This task force will look at 4 areas of the training facility development, including parks and green space, what to do with the former Atlanta prison farm site, sustainability, and how to best train police officers and firefighters on this site.
And with the training center itself, we want to make sure that the community is best heard on things like, hey, how should police be trained in the year 2023?
Patrick Quinn, Atlanta News First.
So that gives you a little bit of background of and brings you up to speed of where we are now. So that was just this week. So we imagine that this is going to continue. We are going to be keeping a very close eye on the activity at the site. But I do also just want to talk about some other layers of this developing story that we have been following here on the ANF Plus desk, and we have all of these details on the Atlanta News First website as well. So when this all happened, part of the issues, the Democrats, even many Democrats actually had a statement that they released, and they had said, you know, we want more transparency in regards to what happened at the site of the future public safety training facility and in light of the shooting that took place there. And transparency was a big part of this story because they were talking about the fact that there was no body cameras that were on at the time of the shooting, and a lot of people in the community wanted to see that moment. And so as a result of that, legislation is now moving through to require that all police officers are required to have their body camera on when responding to an incident like this. So we're keeping an eye on that as well. And that's pretty much everything that we know at this time. So again, this is day 2 of what they, again, are calling the day of action or the week of action. And we're going to be bringing you more updates in our newscast that we have at 9 o'clock tonight, as well as 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So make sure that you tune in. And of course, go to our website because that's really where you're going to be able to just kind of do some more digging. Then I can really wrap up right here and you'll get more layers to the story and anything else that you would like to see. We also have some body camera footage that eventually the Atlanta Police Department did release because they were able to. So that was another big part of this, and we have that information in that video on our website. All right, so thank you so much for joining us here at Atlanta News First, and we're going to wrap it up with that.